Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Today we have on a super special guest, Ciara Quidera. Oh my, I already messed it up. Ciara
Quidera,
Quidera
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 Lara.
Laura.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. Great to have you on. So, before we get into like your work you do now, I just want to get into like what you did before.
Okay. All right. Sounds
So,
good. So my name is Ciara Quidera
okay.
Lara, and basically I have over 7 years of workforce development experience. So I worked with government agencies and nonprofit agencies to help essentially job seekers develop their skills and connect them with resources and services.
Mhm. That sounds like a lot of work. So, how long have you been doing it? 7 years?
I've been doing it for 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah. So straight out of college, actually, I had been on just on a career hunt, trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. In high school, I did test out a lot of things or like experiment. I was like in the law magnet and I did, my guitar stuff because I really wanted to go into music
Oh,
for the
really?
longest time. Yeah. So that was kind of difficult to navigate for myself because one, I don't have like that, that singing voice.
Uh
And
huh.
then when I thought I could do the whole guitar music thing, I was like, nah, I'm not cut out for that life. So ultimately, I went to school and I followed my associate path, and then I went into transfer into ASU, and that's where I really started to be challenged because ASU was no joke. To be honest,
Mhm.
I didn't expect to learn so much. I mean, just in my life,
Mhm.
and in addition to the education portion, obviously, and that's where I was introduced to workforce development. I never even knew what that was, to be honest. I didn't know there was employment centers that were dedicated to helping job seekers,
Mhm.
and that they were funded by the government. So these things were put out by the government, and so once I heard about that, that's where I kind of started to learn more about it.
Mhm.
And I saw the positions that were available. And I just thought it was a really good career track for myself. I just started to develop that passion for it.
Nice. So you went to ASU. That helped you ASU a lot.
Definitely, yes, yes, yes. I will always give credit to my education for where I'm at and all the different things that I've been able to experience because of it.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, I went into ASU out of South Mountain Community College. I transferred over, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it was so hard for me during that time. So, I did take a pause. I didn't graduate with my bachelor's until 2017.
Mhm.
But during that time, I still got into my career track. So it's kind of funny because I like had, found it through my education, but then I had stopped school and just started to focus on my career path during that time, which led me to work with the state of Arizona. I did that for about 4 years, and then I did Goodwill, which unfortunately their contract was pulled. It has to do with the Older Americans Act, but basically we were helping individuals that were older than 55 with the grant to help them go back into the workforce. So I worked with them. It was a lot of case management, definitely a lot of case management in that job, a lot of hats. And then from there, I was kind of left with like my hands in the air because I really loved that job.
Mhm.
And because that contract was pulled, I was kind of feeling like I didn't really know what I wanted to do next. So I eventually decided to, I'm gonna finish school while everything is going. I knew my job was going to be cut soon. So I was kind of planning everything. And that's where I was able to, like I said, go back to school, finish it. And then I was like, okay, I always said that once I finished school, I'd move out of state. During that time, I had traveled to New York. And so I had fell in love with New York City. And I had just loved the environment and atmosphere and the hustle and the whole like fast, life of it all. And I remember talking to my dad. He will not admit this, but he was the one that kind of gave me like the blessing, like, yeah, Miha, you should. If that's what you want to do, you should do it.
Mhm.
So once my dad was like, yeah, I was like, well, then why not? So I planned it all out and I drove across country and I started a whole new little chapter during that time. And I lived in New York for 7 months. It felt like forever, but it was just a short time. But it was great. Like I learned so much. I had so much opportunities handed to me there. It was just kind of overwhelming, but enlightening all at the same time because they really gave me a lot of leadway. And I was able to develop a lot of my own skill sets during that time in training and teaching in just like the more administrative portion, dealing with grants, with funding, programming, it was just a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
But they saw me, as like new, oh, this person's coming from West, maybe she got something, to offer, the East. And so they really gave me a lot of leadway. It was kind of neat. I flourished in that, and that like they gave me that power to feel like freed in a sense to be like, okay, I got this. Like I could actually do whatever I put my mind to. And New York was that for me. A
Mhm.
lot of people tell you like, oh yeah, you could, if you believe it, you could achieve it and whatnot. But New York was that for me. Like that's what made me want to become a business owner eventually. I finally was like trying to go back to workforce development when I came back to Phoenix, and it was just not the same for me.
Mhm.
It was just not the same hustle and bustle. It was not the same. It was a lot of politics here. We're a little bit slower, we're a little more behind. So when someone's new and then young, of course, coming in, and then a woman and then a woman of color, it's like, I'm Latina and they're intimidated because now, I'm speaking my mind, I'm being assertive, I'm using my background, my education, my experience. And a lot of people just didn't want to rock with that, which is fine. But that's why I was like, well, if I'm gonna be busting my behind, I'm gonna do it for myself. And then if I want to work hard to get more results, then I can do that without being limited. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it was kind of neat the way that kind of that whole idea kind of flourished for me, because it was a hassle to tell you, like, to have to go to work to to find out that it was no longer, there was not that fire anymore, like you're just
Mhm.
going to work now. It's like a
Yeah.
routine. It doesn't feel like, again, like it just felt very slow at that time. So that's what kind of got my mind going. I went back to school, started taking classes, business classes. I was doing music business. I did start going, like, I did go back into it just to see if I could possibly join the business side of it.
No, yeah,
But
that's cool.
the pandemic hit, so that
Oh.
like totally threw me, for a loop. So then
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, well, if I can't do a music business right now, then what can I do, so then I was like, well, there's, certain things that we learn in these classes about like monetization and like learning your skill sets and what, makes you unique, what you
Mhm.
can offer people. So I had to think about all that. It took me about a year to figure it out and to actually put it out on a business plan and submit it to like a professor, and a professor actually reviewed and be like, hey, this is actually, you got something here, to really give me that like confidence and confirmation, like maybe I am doing the right thing. And basically what I thought of was to monetize my unique, skill set, which 7 years of workforce development in itself is a lot. There's a
Mhm.
lot of hats that I had to wear, a lot of different skill sets that I have from that, which I'm like so grateful for, because I learned so much through workforce development. And well, because I'm also teaching people, how to maintain
Yeah.
their employment. And so with all that, you learn all that as well. And so it was kind of neat to be dipped into that and gain autonomy that way, to then be able to navigate my own career path the way I, that's fit for me.
Mhm.
So it really gave me that freedom to then be like, okay, well, then I'll use that. I definitely want to empower my people. Like, I want to go back to my community. And I say it that way because I just feel like there's just a lot of people like me in my, where I grew up in South Phoenix.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to give back to people who were like me. And I just thought of, yeah, just my community, and how that was an important part of my life, because without that, I wouldn't have, like, my grandparents raised me in the sense, I grew up with a majority of my life living with them. I went to high school with them, living with them, and they lived in South Phoenix. And my grandfather and both of my grandparents actually came to U.S. In their 20s.
Mhm.
So um, so it was crazy to come from their generation and to like have to live in their household and learn just their unique, ways,
Mhm.
because it is totally different than American life. And then I became more Americanized, obviously, as I got more exposed to the school system here. But it was just a trip. It's just different. And so, our culture is just really rich, and like just learning from my grandparents and all the things that were unique to them and how they were just hard workers, like all that stuck with me. And then my grandpa also being who he was, and just very free spirited. And he was such a tinker. He would make all kinds of different things. And
Mhm.
like, one of them was piñatas. And so it just was so random,
Oh,
but this is
really?
what I grew up. Yeah.
Piñatas?
Yeah. So this is what I grew up around. As a kid, I remember a lot of my happy moments or like memories is watching my tata create stuff in the back. And also, seeing the piñatas that he made for the families, like when we go to family parties, everybody be all happy that my
Mhm.
tata had brought, piñata. And
Mhm.
so it was kind of cool. It was like a little family business that he did. He never, made it bigger than like his backyard thing. He always just kept it within the family, or if anybody else that I would ask, church, things like that, the community. But otherwise, he never really took it outside of that. And we always would talk about it after he passed. I was like, man, it was just crazy how yeah, he made so much and he never, he was very humble about it. And so I felt like that was very unique to my story. And I felt that that kind of connected, for me because of, again, my Latin roots. And so I thought that even more so of a connection with my community and with the
Mm-hmm.
people that I'm serving, right? And so I figured, okay, well, I need money. I can't just like, I wish I was rich enough to just put this in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to, well, I developed a business plan when I was in these classes, and that's when I started to figure out about. I learned about social enterprises, and that's when I was like, money. Like I know this can work if I can implement basically a business portion, like a retail part that can sustain and fund the program part or the
Mm-hmm.
social act part, which is where I would be helping again underserved Latino women in Phoenix. I'm hoping it could go outside of that, like New York. I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
that and seeing if that's something I can explore. But right now it's Phoenix, and yeah. So the whole idea came from so the social enterprise. There we go. Going back to that. So the social enterprise came from monetary goals. That's I figured I have a retail part. I could helping out that as part of decor because my family we've always have been known for like our parties and our decorations and just going all out, even for like Halloween parties and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I was like, yeah, that comes easy for me. So not only piñatas but party decorations, and then I figured that from the retail sales from that, and hopefully the mission part, like donating and other people who are willing to give to support the sister part, which would be, I would call it La Vida Lopez. And that is going to be the program part or the nonprofit portion, where we would then implement the programming to help people who are underserved, again with like the training, education, and development that they will need to navigate their career path.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a win-win-win for everybody. It's like a full circle, and it's kind of neat because I would be so content with that business model working and being a success because I just feel like it's my passion. So it wouldn't feel like work. It would just feel like how many more people can we reach?
Mm-hmm.
And I needed just that freedom to be able to do that. A lot of programming don't, they a lot of programs are funded through federal grants and things like that. And so they have a lot of restrictions. And so that's where I kind of bumped heads a lot too with the programs that I worked with because it was just so limited. And that's fine. And I get it. But that's where I was like, this is where I can, yeah, be able to use the funding in ways that are unique or that are, more just innovative because again we're a little slower here, we move at a little slower pace, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's just a lot of things that I can bring that I learned from New York to here to
Yeah.
kind of yeah, get it going and getting to reach more people here.
Yeah.
So in a lump sum, that's what Flippin' Piñatas is. So Flippin' Piñatas is a social enterprise that creates and makes piñatas and party decors to help underserved Latinas with workforce development opportunities and training. So that's what Flippin' Piñatas does. And then again, La Vida Lopez, once we get to a certain monetary goal, I want to start rolling out some programs, hopefully connecting with some schools here
Oh.
and
Okay.
trying to get into to get in front of my audience. It's the youth, it's the younger people. Those are, I feel like we definitely need to step up and empower that because I feel like we didn't get that when we were younger.
No.
And
Yeah.
so being that I was able to get some freedoms from my education and just the things that I've learned and the opportunities I've had, I feel like because I know what I know, I feel like I've been able to kind of succeed and be at a place of peace because that's so hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in your career path. I mean, a lot of our the way we identify ourselves has to do with attachment to a career. What you
Mm-hmm.
do. A lot of people ask your name and they ask you what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like it's definitely a major way to create generational wealth for us. Latinos are definitely underserved in Phoenix. I know I explained that to you before. We're like the last in a lot of categories, like
Mm-hmm.
education attainment and wages as well. We're the least to get paid, Latina women. And there's a report out called Datos. I think it was the Hispanic Commerce that came out with that. And what they explained was that, yeah, there's a lot of, and disparity is a harsh word, but basically, when it comes to Latino women. and other, so I thought that it was just like, oh, maybe this is the time, seeing that the numbers are the way they are, and being that I am in a position to, go ahead and make a move. I just felt like I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to be able to, like I said, give back and make a living out of that.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was like the best explanation
Come on, and
ever.
cut. I need a little.
No, it was good. That was really good.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little shy, so I know I talk fast, and so that's why I have a problem with mixing up
No,
my
that was
words here and
great.
there. So I'm
That was
hoping
great.
if there's any editing that you could do on some of those, I would greatly appreciate it.
No, yeah, yeah. I go
Um,
through every podcast, so yeah,
okay, perfect. Oh yeah,
yeah.
and so like for me, I just feel like I want to know more about you too. It'd be great to be able to find out what the youth is up to these days. I know I'm a little older, so sometimes like you're older,
Wait,
but
how
it's
old
like
are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, 31? Okay.
Yeah. So, I see high school kids and I just feel like, oh my God, to be in those shoes again. It's harder, I feel, for you guys because of social media more than
Oh,
anything.
yeah, that's a big,
Uh,
big, like, topic for sure.
yeah. And like the phones, like, see, a phone was like, you had money, in high school if you had a phone, and that's what that was.
Oh,
That's how.
really?
Yeah, like it was very rare that anybody had a phone in high school.
Oh.
It was just coming out, and yeah, it wasn't like as advanced as it is now, but we still had our cell phones that
Mm.
at that time it was a sidekick. Oh my God, I don't even know if you
A
know the sidekick.
sidekick? No, I know.
Oh my God, I feel old now. Okay, so don't tell anybody this, no, but
Okay.
because it'll give my age away. No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, there was a sidekick, and that's when they just started to like you could browse, on the internet that way.
Oh,
And
really?
before, not a lot of phones had access to the internet like that.
Mm.
But like I said, it was like either you had money and you could afford that because you had to pay a phone bill. The phone bills were more expensive back then, and it was more like limited. Like you only had 200 texts a month,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
things like that. So yeah, so my whole point of me saying that is I didn't really feel the effects of that.
Mm.
We were already getting out of high school when that started to be more of a thing, and trend, and like I was in college once social media and all that started to hit. But yeah, I just feel like that, and just like communication, like I feel like people are always like in their phones, and like a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, I feel can be created, when you're
Mm.
isolated, like you're not used to commute, like
Yeah, you know, yeah, I get
goals,
you.
or,
Yeah.
I don't know, just like I sound old school and thinking out loud like this, but like, yeah, so, but I do think it's tougher because you're more exposed to, like I said, things online, and then people being mean. I mean, people are so horrible on some of
Mm.
those things. And so, yeah, so I read stories and I'm just like, this generation,
Yeah.
man, they go through it in high school because of all the social media stuff.
There's
So
definitely like
glad. I'm
yeah.
like so glad I missed that.
There's definitely goods and bads to social media for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I mean, there's you can communicate through social media, but like it can go either way, good or bad. It can
Right.
really go either way.
I feel, yeah, and it is a good platform because you are able to reach more people,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And if you're doing something good, obviously, the more people you can reach, the better. So I feel like, yeah, definitely in that way. But I just feel like, yeah, you're more under like a microscope,
Yeah, yeah,
people are
yeah.
checking your accounts and looking at how much likes you got, or how many comments, or who's
Yeah.
commenting and who's following. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
none of that mattered back then, like it's just a
Yeah.
trick to me. But that's a lot of people's or at least a lot of young kids, they hold on to those things,
Mm-hmm.
which I could understand. Like again, there's a lot of stuff behind all that, but my thing is like being a light, trying to be like, yo, yes, all this is cool too, but like learning about this stuff is also dope. And
Mm-hmm.
like being able to find that freedom at a young age is even like doper, So like
Mm-hmm.
I want people to geek out about their career paths. I want people to be excited about gaining their own autonomy and being able to make decisions and be fearless about them. I feel like a lot of us, being again Latina, we're very pigeonholed into certain career paths, and that's the part that I feel like I want to change that mindset. I want you to, be empowered. I want you to feel like you are that shit. You can do
Mm-hmm.
what you want, set your mind to something, make, goals, set actions towards those goals, and they'll happen. And it's, a lot of people think like, you could manifest, or you could do this, and yes, you can. You could definitely do all that, but you got to put some action towards that.
Yeah.
Definitely have to put the hard work. I learned that the hard way too, like thinking like, oh, I could do it the fast way. Nope. Right now I feel like I had to learn all the hard stuff, and that's what I want to prevent people from having to learn the hard way, because
Mm-hmm.
that will set people back. Sometimes that even creates more roadblocks, and it's like we already have roadblocks. If you just saw the statistics against us and how how much this it works against us, it's just very unfortunate, and I feel like we fall victim to it. And if I could just enlighten people and just be like, yo, this is what's happening, this is what you can do, this is how you can do it, it just would feel so what's the word, like, just very
Fulfilling.
yes, very fulfilling for me. Just because I feel like it does give us, certain people that empowerment and autonomy. I want to give people that. I feel like we deserve it, especially if I had learned not a key or a secret, but just some, yeah, something to give you some peace. Why not
Mm-hmm.
share that,
No, yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of, again, our career paths really define, what we do in our life and where we go, and obviously what we can afford to do, and those types of things too. And who doesn't want to have, a good retirement? Who doesn't want to
Mm-hmm.
uh, retire at a young age or own their own things? And, I feel like in our culture, we don't learn about that either. Financial stability or financial literacy and those types of things are a very
Mm-hmm.
important part of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could go and make a business and all that, but do you know how to manage your money too?
Mm-hmm.
So it's learning those types of things too, and credit, and all that is a part of what I want to implement with La Vida Lopez. It's really targeting life skills and employability skills, and just the real life stuff that a lot of us don't get educated on. And unfortunately, as we're growing up, and it's not just us,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a lot of people, but ultimately, I just can speak to who, what I didn't get, and that's what I want to provide back. So, yeah, so I just want to learn more about what you guys are into, how to get your attention, because I know that's
Yeah.
hard. I had a friend tell me that she teaches psychology at Gateway,
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling me how she was not having difficulty, but she felt like the day that she brought the TikTok challenge or a TikTok assignment in
Uh-huh.
is when her kids were so excited, or like
Social
so.
media. That's like TikTok is the biggest thing right now. It is the biggest thing. I post some clips from my podcast on TikTok because it's like it's the biggest thing right now. For sure.
Yeah, see, and I don't even have a TikTok, and people have been telling me, "Girl, you need to get a TikTok for
Yes,
your
for
business."
especially for
And I'm
this. Like if you want
like,
to grow, that is a
yeah,
great way. Like businesses go on TikTok all the time. They grow super fast if they like post the right content.
right.
And yeah, it's that's yeah, it's a big
And that's a challenge for me, and I say all this because, like, all this has been so hard for me, taking it all in, obviously, and starting a new venture and taking that leap of faith. And, again, I'm not super wealthy, I'm able to plan and things like that. And that's what I'm good at. And that's
mm-hmm,
why I think I've been able to get ahead, is being able to kind of, set it up as a plan, or as milestones. And
mm-hmm,
each milestone brings me closer. So, you know, so then, in addition to that challenge of being, having to take that leap of faith and learning and growing and all that, is like this whole other social media part.
yeah,
Like now having that, yeah, I'm having to put a face on. I'm
mm-hmm.
like a face of the brand. I'm like, I don't even want to be in front of the camera half the time. I don't even like taking pictures. I'm
If you
always
ever
a
need
back.
help, I can help you with the TikTok stuff, with the social media stuff,
Oh man, it
for
would be
sure.
such a help, because I
Yeah,
am I'm already awkward, period, like I am
I
not that
can
person.
definitely
So
help you with the social media aspect part of it,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
appreciate that, because I am serious. That's my biggest challenge right now, is having to put on a face and be
Yeah.
like, this is my brand. And like, of course, I want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come naturally to me.
No,
I
yeah, yeah.
can talk to you and talk your ear off about workforce development and the programming, and I could go deeper and deeper, as far as you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, when it comes just to being on camera, or performing, or like, it's just so hard for me. I don't know. I don't know. It just never came naturally,
No,
but
yeah,
I'm learning.
yeah.
This is my first, interview. So I hope that I can, have face to look at it later and see, study myself, see what I can do to be better. Cause I do need to do better. I recognize that it's such an important part of our experience these days. So yeah, any kind of tips or tricks would be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I can
I'm
definitely
a
help you
whole,
with
just a
that.
whole person.
No, it's okay. There are
Me and
so
my
many
friends laugh at
apps.
each other in our circles because we're just like, oh my God, we're such the worst at this. But I have a friend who's so great
Hmm.
at it. And she's like, girl, you need to do this and this and this. And
No, yeah, it's a great way to
I'm
grow
like,
your
yeah, but
business.
you are naturally, you can wake up naturally, I said, it takes time to put this face on, to get in the mood, to like be, and but it's work. And that's what it's about. It's
Yeah.
about challenging myself. It's about stepping out of my comfort zone, embarrassing myself and laughing and then being like, okay, I could do this better next time.
Hmm.
So I think it's all a learning experience, but I feel like it's another part that keeps me going. It's just like having that open mind because trust me, there's times where I want to stop and I'm just like, can I just go back? I could get a program, or a high position with the county if I want, or with the state, or with another program. I
Hmm.
have confidence in my abilities to secure a job that I could, do. But I just, again, it just goes back to the idea of having the autonomy to kind of guide where my mission lies and where I want to go, and serving those people and being true to that. So I just, yeah, I just hope that everything comes together. We're looking towards, I think, February of next year for a grand opening. So I know I
Okay.
had told you about my soft. I don't know if I touched about my soft launch. That was just basically a friends and family event that I did to showcase what I'm doing, because a lot of people didn't know. Like in
Hmm.
our families, don't. It's so funny. A lot of my family members still think that I like majored in psychology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, excuse me. So I thought it was funny because I was like, they are not gonna know if I would be like, oh yeah, I'm an owner of a social enterprise. They're gonna be like, oh, sí, qué bueno. Like they don't. They're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, whatever.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
owns some,
Hmm.
something. So they're happy. But I mean, at the end of the day, I really wanted to know this is what I do. This is what we're
Hmm.
gonna. This is the whole idea, and I just wanted collectively to kind of tell everybody, and because it had been in the works for about like maybe 8 to 10 months at that point, a little bit
Hmm.
longer. I had even like stopped working and people didn't know that I had like stopped working for the county. And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, retired from that side right now and trying to, do this. So that kind of gave me that intro to that. And then obviously just to kind of grow organically with my follows, having my friends and family share my business and things like that. Cause right now I'm not ready to like have a full on, launch for my business. I
Hmm.
just wanted to basically just be out there and just be an observer and see what works, see what doesn't, see what I could put out on my website, see what's going to gain traction, things like that. Kind of like yeah, like I'm going to put it out there, see what's there, see what works, see what doesn't. And then once I could develop some type of plan to incorporate what does work, then doing that grand opening. So I'm in the middle of that right now. So it's kind of like sitting back and waiting and developing and all those things at the end. And then hopefully, yeah, everything will be ready to go February 2022, and that will be the grand opening for Flippin' Piñatas, which is the retail side.
Hmm.
And right now it is an e-commerce store. I'm trying to develop or trying to find a website where I could just dedicate it to like e-commerce where it's just online for now
Hmm.
until I could get a brick and mortar. And then hopefully I can set up shop, and it would be ideal to have it in South Phoenix. I would love to have my piñata shop in
Hmm.
South Phoenix. So I'm manifesting that, hopefully putting it out there, and it happens. So
Hmm.
once I could find a storefront, then I feel like it can only go up from there.
Hmm.
But the main idea to that part is getting those funds and being able to start developing the program part, which right now I'm already starting on. Like I already started talking to people, trying to figure out who I want to kind of like create a board of directors in a sense, and say, okay, let's come together. Like I want to get your guys' thoughts, like what's going on, because I have a lot of friends that are in the industry, right, of workforce
Oh, yeah.
development, so they know like what. Uh, who is hiring and for what skill sets and what is going hot and what is not doing so hot right now. So they're great insight to that world for me, and like I can learn so much from them. So I'm just trying to gather people who want to be a part of the mission and saying, all right, I'm willing to work with you and collaborate so that we can create this bigger thing than us and see if we can reach people with it. I really want to, my hope is to create a like dynamic program that follows high school girls or students through their high school path, hopefully starting from ninth grade to the end of their senior year, and then being able to connect them with the resources they need once they're out of high school. and seeing what they want to do then. And so the idea is that that program would be developed so that it makes sense. You know, everything's
Mm-hmm.
like parted, or put it in an order so that it all makes sense. So by the end you get out, you already know what you want to do. You already not even know necessarily, but you know how to navigate to get
Mm-hmm.
to what you want to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not, as I'm hoping that it's not going to be as stressful, because a lot of us don't get the help even to, like, you know, go into higher education. Financial aid is, you know, it's hard
Yeah.
to navigate if you don't know, if you don't have anybody in your life and things like that. And I feel like, a lot, like I messed up because I didn't have that, you know, but I learned the hard way. And that's what I'm saying. I might want to prevent all that for students so that it is a little more, it's still going to be hard, but less, you know, it's going to be a little, less stressful, hopefully easier. And being there to kind of not handhold, but yeah, be along them. Like, this is how we do it. I'll show
Yeah.
you. I do, you do, we do. So that way,
Yeah.
you know, people learn and can keep that skill. So yeah, so that's the main idea, is creating like this whole neat dynamic program, and then yeah, being able to turn that into numbers. And what I mean by that is making like an economic impact. And what that means is putting people, yeah, into, you know, into jobs that are fulfilling for them. And in the end, that kind of creates a whole sustainable process. You know, our community will be thriving and happy because people are able to, you know, have those opportunities. And it's like a full circle. I mean, there's a lot of benefits of obviously having, people in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the pandemic hitting, I'm sure we got to see the impact of what that,
Yeah.
you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, so that's where the whole bigger like social impact is at, is making that economic difference in the end. And that's what the full picture looks like. It's like we're bringing in the funding from the retail to support this, you know, the programming to teach people, to develop them. And then, in the end, they're going to be able to succeed by, you know, getting into the career field or going into higher education and, you know, navigating that. And they want to do 4 year, you know, they want to get their master's, whatever that is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all good stuff, you know. So I feel like, if I could just get a system down, and once that's all said and done, I mean, I feel like it could really, work out. And so wish me
Mm-hmm.
luck. That's the main idea. That's the big idea of all this.
No, yeah, that's great. I love the idea. I love the two projects, and
Yeah.
one of them supports the other one, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Goodwill. Goodwill
Yeah.
does the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
take retail, or what do they do? They basically sell stuff that people don't want.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if they still do it, but that's how they were able to afford their like career centers. I don't know if people still have. I don't know. That's
Oh.
basic. That's the same concept, because a lot of people are like, what is a social interest? What does that
Mm-hmm.
mean? Think of like Tom's shoes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they, you know, if you buy a pair, they give a pair to someone in need, I think is the mission. So that this is a similar concept, you know, where
Yeah.
we're taking it, our profit, and we're actually turning it to something good, or putting it towards something good. But yeah.
Ah,
Any,
I love it. I love it. Um, that was great.
yeah,
Thank you.
you good? You got your
Thank you.
content.
That was like so good. That was great. Oh, one last question though.
Yeah.
Um, it's not really about. It's just like a fun question I ask
Yeah.
uh everybody.
Okay.
Who is your favorite celebrity?
My favorite
If you had to pick
celebrity.
one, like it could be a musician, it could be an actor,
I'm gonna sound so corny, but I love Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
I love Ariana Grande.
No,
Yep.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Ariana
Yeah.
Grande.
Yep, I've seen
Oh,
her, yeah, twice in concert, and she's the shit. Like,
she's
hands
actually
down.
that's the only concert I've been to is Ariana Grande's concert.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, no, no. I love her vocals. I love
Mm-hmm.
just her as a you know, how she represents herself basically in that industry. I love it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Um,
Thanks for having me.
yeah.
Where will I find this at? I'm like,
Huh?
where are you putting me on at?
Oh. The
What are you?
podcast.
Yeah. What are you?
I'll send it to you, but it's gonna be on YouTube and Spotify.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good.
I'll send it to you though for sure.
Okay,
All right.
cool. Are we like done
Yeah, I'm
recording?
gonna. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Thank you
so
guys for
sorry.
watching the podcast. Thank you for watching the podcast. I will see you guys in the next video.